Fort Fisher in the museum. And if you don't know what Fort Fisher is, it's actually a fort in the Civil War. And it's off of Cure Beach in North Carolina. So the construction of it was a tongue of land runs down from the main, having the Atlantic on one side and the Cape Fear River on the other, called Federal Point. About 2 miles north of New Inlet was the land. Face of Fort Fisher is immense and traverses looking from ship's deck like a row of mounds in a graveyard. One man had the determination and perseverance to see work on Fort Fisher continue despite setbacks and harsh conditions. Colonel William Lamb took command of Fort on July 4, 1862. He said he was determined at once to build a work of such magnitude that it could withstand the heaviest fire of any guns of the American Navy. Lamb observed that Fort Fisher initially was a small work. One of the Federal frigates could have cleaned it out with a few broadsides. After scaring away a Union blockader he deemed too close for comfort, Lamb worked to make the area secure from land or sea attack.
From here in the visitor center, difficult to visualize what Fort Fisher was like in 1865. Today's shoreline reflects many years of erosion and has destroyed much of the original fort. But the scene was much different in 1865 as the Federals planned an all-out offensive to take Fort Fisher.
I saw from the ramparts of the fort the lights of the Great Armada as one after another appeared above the horizon. Colonel William Lamb.
January 12, 1865. The Union fleet of transports and 58 warships assembles off the coast near Fort Fisher. Over the next 2 days, the Federals land troops north of the fort as the Navy maintains a constant bombardment.
The game of the enemy is very plain to me. To remain there, the reduction of Fort Fisher is but a question of time. General Chase Whiting, Senior Confederate Officer.
The first option, which I had in view after landing, was to throw a strong defensive line across the peninsula so as to protect our rear from attack while we should be engaged in operating against Fort Fisher. General Alfred H. Terrell.
Such a storm of shells poured into Fort Fisher that quarter, as I believe had never been seen before in any naval engagement. Thomas O. Selfridge, USS Hero.
A tremendous fire was kept up from the entire fleet. The effect is terrible. The works being torn to pieces. The exhausted condition of our men now greatly decimated by 56 hours of hard fighting, rendered it necessary to fire at the fleet seldom and at long intervals. Major William J. Saunders, Chief of Artillery, Fort Fisher.
January 15th. 2,000 sailors and Marines come ashore to join Federal land forces. They moved down the beach to attack the northeast bastion shortly after 3 p.m.
They were packed like sheep in a pen, while the enemy were crowding the ramparts not 40 yards away and shooting into them as fast as they could fire. Commander Selfridge.
I have been in a great number of battles, but I never saw men fall so fast in my life.
Welcome to Attack and Adventures today. Today we're at Fort Fisher, North Carolina, and I wanted to show you the fort. And these trees were actually here during the Civil War. Can you imagine that? if you can imagine it, the coast probably came up to right here, and the fort started here. But the thing is, if you look up Fort Fisher's background, there was hundreds of men that died during those battles. There was 2 battles of Fort Fisher, and can you think, probably bodies all up and down right here. And it didn't matter what color your skin was, because there was even black regiments that were fighting in the Civil War. And if you can imagine, people from New York, New Hampshire, from all over, the men in the Navy and everything, you know, piled up on this land just so they can fight other men at this fort that we're at. And these trees, you know, they had to be here during the Civil War. The way that they are warped, the way that they're pushed over a little bit, where the ocean has just like pushed them and wore them down some and bent them in certain areas, in certain ways. We're walking on the boards now to the fort. And if you look way over there, there's the ports that the ships come in. And there's the back end. Well, this was probably the front end, but if you're at the other side, the ocean would be there, and this would bring in the swamp area with fresh water over on that side. War never witnessed more determined bravery. Colonel Lamb had no fear about the successful defense of Shepherd's Battery, which stands directly in front of you, which is that. On the afternoon of January 15th, 1865, at approximately 250 Confederates defended this position. Included in the defenses were a 12-pound Napoleon at the gate, a minefield of torpedoes in front of the land face, and the anticipation of additional help from the 350 South Carolinians from Hagood's brigade. However, the torpedoes were disabled during the naval bombardment, and Hagood's brigade did not move up in time to reach the fort. Thus, the remaining forces, outnumbered more than 10 to 1, had to withstand the attack of 3 General Ames brigades. And here, this is the view of the land front, showing a destroyed gun carriage in the 2nd Traverse Library of Congress. And this is the map. So Lamb ordered 300 reinforcements right here coming from this area. This is the Shepherd's Battery and the Bloody Gate. And this is the Cape Fear River. And the sea face is over here. The position of the Stars and Stripes was bitterly contested, with men firing their rifles, pointing blank into the faces of their opponents. Imagine this. They plunged onto brutal hand-to-hand fighting, swinging their rifles like clubs. The living trampled and stumbled over the bodies of the dead, dying, and wounded. Corporal Henry Clay McQueen of the 1st North Carolina Battalion Heavy Artillery Company D saw 12 of his fellow artillerymen killed and the fighting for Shepherd's Battery. The Union forces won, and the fighting moved east down the land, transverse by transverse. I'm stepping up to the door now of the fort so you can go look in, kind of see what the door looked like. Imagine all the ghosts walking up here at night. I'm going to walk up to the stairs to the top part of the fort so y'all can see what the view is from the top. Oops. Alright, here's a cannon. It's a restoration of a cannon. The view from the fort. Those are the hills back there. But if I pan and scroll, which we're about to get a storm maybe, you see the land. I can't zoom in on this GoPro, but there's actually a crane out in the middle of the field over there. There is a monument right there, and I'll show y'all that in a few minutes. Here's that monument I was talking about from across the way of the trees. This was erected by the North Carolina Division of United Daughters of the Confederacy, April 1932. And the fort is way right there in that area, and there's the trees. I guess this, there's our unknown Confederate soldier plaque. A lot of seagulls hanging out today. Was of the last open port of the Confederacy. Here, a combined naval and military assault by federal forces was repulsed on December 24th and 5th of 1864. The fort was captured on the night of January 15th, 1865, after 3 days combined bombardment by more than 55 enemy warships and attacks by 10,000 land forces. The garrison of the fort, 1,900 men, was composed entirely of North Carolinians, with the exception of 350 South Carolinians. In 1932, the North Carolina Division of the United Daughters of the Confederacy unveiled the Fort Fisher Monument at Battle Acre. It was one of hundreds of monuments the UDC erected through the South in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. UDC monuments not only celebrate the valor of Confederate soldiers, they also reflect the culture and values of the women who built them during their struggle to preserve Confederate heritage in the New South. This is what a fallen soldier laying here on the beach probably seen. The sky, and heard the waves. And then if you look down there, remember your grandfather could have been laying on this beach, or any beach for that matter, in whatever war. So y'all go attack today, and I'll see you on the beach.